Welcome to the Pop Tower Podcast with your host, the man behind the myth, Peter Dawson, and the soulful Lordy, James Bullock.
I'm James Bullock.
And I'm Default White Guy. That's my new rap name. Because
I'm already done.
Yeah. I'm so glad I didn't tell you that's what I was going to say before
Oh
we started.
my goodness, that was worth it.
Yep. So,
man.
I am Peter W. Dawson. I've been growing out my beard during the current COVID situation because, I mean, why not? Because currently my day job is not happening, which is fair because it's definitely not recession-proof.
Exactly.
So I've been growing out the beard, and I put on a hat the other day, and I kind of looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I look like a generic white rapper. I look like I should be dating Britney Spears for reasons that are not clear to me. So I was just like, And so that became my rap name, because it's always sort of jokingly my rap name, and it's reached a startling new level of true.
Man, that is great.
I also look like an out-of-shape BioWare protagonist. You know, like the short brown hair and then the scraggly stuff. Because it's not really a great beard, but people seem to like it, which I don't know if they're just being complimentary or not, and now I don't know if I trust people. It's weird. But you know what you can trust us on, James?
What is that?
Television and movies.
Yes.
Because, man, this is a great time for streaming.
Yes, is this the time to just sit back and watch a whole bunch of stuff you're planning on watching anyway?
Oh, yeah, I know. Like, this is great. I mean, the three things we're covering were all stream-related, because, I mean, there's not going to be a lot of movies. Did you see what the box office was for the last weekend here?
No, I haven't looked.
It was like $5,000.
Oh, I can believe it.
Yeah, for the entire American box office.
One of those situations.
Well, I mean,
I would love to see if they're going to... No, it's not a shock at all. I just want to see them trying to count in, if they can, like the VOD sales.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that would... The amount of people that have probably now signed up for Disney Plus who hadn't before, and I mean, the amount of people who maybe let their Netflix or Crunchyroll or Hulu lapse, like, those are probably skyrocketing, which is one of the reasons,
definitely.
Like the local government here where I am, they just said, yeah, we're going to... you're covered for up to 3 months on your electricity bill now.
Oh, awesome.
Which I'm like, that's good. Internet, they haven't made any such promise yet, but, I mean, electricity is a big one.
Right.
Especially because it can still get cold here at night. Like, I'll tell you what, it tells me in Fahrenheit and Celsius, so in Fahrenheit, it still drops below 70, which is not great when you have hardwood floors. So it gets very drafty. So I still have to turn on the heat at night. But you know, that's how it is. Anyway, let's get away from how our lives are, weird sort of... We're like in the first Mad Max movie where society still exists, but it's clearly starting to collapse.
Yeah, it's starting to stagnate before the collapse happens.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the TV shows and the movie we're going to talk about this week. So let's start with...
Speaking of collapses...
Oh, yeah. No, honestly, all of these are kind of in some way oddly appropriate.
Yeah.
The first one probably the most so. So the first one we're going to talk about is Kingdom, not to be confused with The Kingdom, because there's like 3 other TV shows called The Kingdom.
Yes. And a movie.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a South Korean... I love the full list here. South Korean political period horror thriller. Which is about right. And technically it leaves out supernatural.
Yes.
Because, well, I mean, it's because it's a supernatural horror. It's like, the elevator pitch for this is, what if a Korean medieval political drama also had zombies?
Yes.
That is probably the easiest way to put it. So it's like, hey, fans of The Walking Dead, do you want to see this, but like when society still exists, but it's like a kingdom in Korea? So it's like, you get this interesting thing where there's like an obvious political thriller, like there's a whole group that are like, the king is dead. The crown prince should now be king, and it's like the crown prince is like, what?
Yeah, and that's like that's one of the biggest things about the whole show. It isn't just about the zombies and surviving, but the whole political aspect of, does the crown prince deserve to be the king?
Yeah. And so we didn't really talk about the first season because honestly, this show completely slipped by my radar the first time.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is one of those shows that's really snuck up on us.
Yeah, and like, cause like I only heard about it through my roommate, and I was like, I never even saw the first season. He's been getting into more international stuff because I mean he already watches a lot of anime, and then he watched some of the Korean stuff that was on Netflix, and this is one of them. By the way, the show length, the shortest episode I think is 36 minutes, but then the longest one's almost an hour.
Yeah.
So they really don't stick to.
There's no consistency.
I mean, I know they don't have to, but it does kind of annoy me when a show can be that dramatically different sometimes.
Yeah.
Even when HBO does it, I mean, and
when it comes to this, it's not like it's a long season every time. It's like only 6 episodes per season.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, there's only 12 episodes, and it took about 14 months between seasons.
Right.
Which is about right for Netflix usually, unless like it's one of the shorter shows to produce. So yeah, like that's the basic premise: is Crown Prince Li Chang is trying to figure out what the heck's going on in his kingdom, because this is set historically in it's probably around 1603.
Right. Yeah, it's after like, the Japanese invasion of Korea.
Yeah, like that's a major element. Is they were making clear, like, yeah, this is after this happened. So, well, the Japanese are busy having the Tokugawa fight for dominance of Japan. I don't think they go back to Korea for a while, if ever.
No, not at all. No.
Yeah, because when Toyotomi dies, that's pretty much the end of the invasions.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's all happening, and then yeah, it's just like there's stuff like what's going on in the kingdom, and then oh crap, zombies. So it's
one of those things. Like first, it's just a plague. Everybody's getting sick, and we don't know exactly what's the cause of it. Then all of a sudden, oh my goodness, they're back, and they're about to kill us all, and they're living dead.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like that. It's like oh. Yeah, and like because there's stuff going on with the queen who's like dicking around, and I can't remember. She's like Prince's stepmom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, classic. It's not like my mom has betrayed me. It's like, no, the stepmom I never trusted. So
Right, I never believed her anyway.
Yeah, like I never trusted her. And then so the first season focuses more like the undead is kind of a slowly unfolding plot, and then season 2 is when it really picks up.
Yeah, it's more political intrigue first season.
Yeah, the second one there's still plenty of political intrigue, but they kind of use that now more as the backdrop for the situation as they try to deal with the undead. Right.
Well,
that's probably the easiest way to put it. And then we get.
I love because one of the big things for this series is the fact, like with the undead, is during the daytime, these zombies don't do anything. They just relax during the daytime.
That's true.
So you're spending like pretty much a good portion of your day trying to fortify anything you have to try to prevent. For the fact that when night hits, they go crazy. These zombies lose their minds. They're ready to slaughter and just tear up everything.
Yeah, it's like, what is it? What was that game where you could parkour around zombies and then you could, like, grappling hook them?
Oh, Dying Light.
Dying Light, thank you. Because I kept thinking of, like, good night and good luck or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The tagline for it.
Oh, yeah, because at night, that's right, at Dying Light, they would just go crazy. And then that's why the biggest, baddest zombies would show up during nighttime.
Yeah, and even when you were tough enough to handle them at night, it's like, maybe I shouldn't do this because there's not
right,
a lot of reward.
Right, it was still a scary situation.
Yeah. No matter how high level you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the second season, they do the thing, and they have, without giving too much away, it does kind of build to an epic final stand type of thing. It's probably the easiest way to describe
and that was one of the things. Yeah, I was actually quite surprised because they did this in the first season. Not too much of a spoiler since we do have a second season. There was a cliffhanger at the end of the first season, and this one kind of had a nice little ending that made me think, you know what, maybe we're going to stop here. And then, of course, they had a little bit of a reveal afterwards to ensure that you understand that, no, we're getting a continuation of whatever's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And they've, by this point, without giving too much away again, they do actually kind of reveal the source of the plague.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually quite interesting.
Yeah, very much so. I was actually surprised that they actually went to that direction because, of course, a majority of the times when we have this, especially like you look at something like The Walking Dead, they never fully explain until way, way later, if at all, what the source of this is.
Aliens. For those who aren't aware, that was the original pitch Robert Kirkman made with The Walking Dead.
Yes.
I always love that story. He just flat out lied to Image and was like, yeah, no, it's going to be aliens.
It's going to be aliens.
Yeah, because apparently they would only do it because they didn't believe zombies could work.
Yeah, because during that time, zombies weren't a thing in terms of popular media. But aliens and vampires were, so let's just go with that.
Right, especially since Image, I mean, all their other stuff, it's like, oh yeah, we could potentially cross over. Can't do that with this.
Rick versus the alien.
I'd be down for that.
I would be too. One-handed Rick versus the alien. Oh man, Carl, let's back up. Like, not whiny television show Carl, comic book Carl.
I'm just imagining, like, aliens unleashing a zombie plague, and then, like, take some zombies and add, like, cybernetics to make them, like, intelligent zombies, and then you're fighting, like, cybernetic zombies. Sorry, we're getting a little off track here, but...
We're figuring out what can happen in Season 3.
Yeah. And, like, there's a lot of interesting ideas for how the virus works versus, like, what causes the infection, and the political drama is really good. Because it's classic, you know, it's like, but I am the one in charge now, but no, I am the one who is in charge. And if you've ever studied, you know, how dynasties fall in, like, any kingdom ever, China, Korea, whatever, it's like, yeah, this is usually how a dynasty falls.
Right.
Just less eunuchs. Because that was a major thing in China.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. The acting's pretty good. I mean, for what it is.
Yeah,
like,
I thought it was... I wouldn't say the dub is that great.
No, that's definitely true.
Yeah. If you're watching this, watch it sub. Watch it natural language sub, because the dubs aren't good at all, really.
Yeah. And, like, it's really interesting because, like, I know Korean cinema, they have a bit of a style to it that's maybe a bit more unique, and you kind of see it with this, but it still feels like, I don't know if it's like, oh, this is the best of Korean cinema, you know, cinematography, but it definitely has some really good, like they do a good job tracking the action, is probably the best way to put it. Because they don't necessarily do, like, single shot tracking, but they do, like, a good job so you can always see what's going on.
Yeah, I love those pan sequences. You know, they did a really good job of surveying the land when it came to the cinematography.
Yeah. It's as a result, like, I mean, there's so much. Yeah, I don't want to get too much into the actual plot because I don't want to get into spoilers.
I know. It's one of those things, like, we're coming into a second season. Of course, you're going to spoil a little bit, but it's good enough of a show that we don't want to spoil it. We want you to experience it for yourself and see some of the big twists and reveals. Because, it's, like I said, it's definitely a good enough show to be warranted of viewing, especially during this time where you have hopefully you have some free time to just kick back and watch some television.
Yeah, like, if you want to see a Korean period drama that also has zombies, that's all you really need, because, like, they do all of this very well.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, it's, like, even then the zombies are kind of a spoiler. I'm trying to think when they first fully reveal that in the first season.
Yeah, it's not that early in the show at all.
I want to say it was the third or fourth?
I want to say it was the fourth episode.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it might have been the fourth, yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, the first season's very much a slow burn, but it's also only 6 episodes, and, like, it's a slow burn in that the plague doesn't get fully revealed until the 4th episode, but, like, because the first 3 definitely more heavily focused on the political drama, and then the second season, the political drama is still there, but the undead situation is definitely more of a threat now.
Mm-hmm.
And the 6th episode basically almost entirely follows that. I mean, that's essentially what the climax of the episode is. And, like, episode 5 is definitely probably the most political, I would say.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. I just looked at the episodes, and I read the description for episode 5 again. I'm like, yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's always the nice thing when you have a guy.
Oh, yeah. That's a perfect
like, I don't want to look at it all the time, because then I'm just reading things, and I'm
right.
I'm going to be
reading. I definitely... Oh, yeah, that's perfect. That's a perfect way.
In this case, it was like, yep.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, that probably about covers it.
Yeah, no, real solid season. Looking forward to season 3. If you haven't seen season 1, of course, definitely check this out before you see season 2. It's not one of those standalone kind of shows that you can watch the second season while seeing the first season and just jump in and not be completely confused with what's going on.
Yeah. That sums it up. I guess we could dive into season 2.
Season 1 of this one.
Oh yeah, right. Sorry, I got mentally confused because I was thinking about the second thing we're talking about, and it's like, all right. Yeah. So another show we're gonna talk about. This one's on Amazon Prime Video.
Mm-hmm.
This is Hunters.
I think this is one of the first times we're doing 3 different streaming services for one audio.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy about that actually. If we could have slipped in Hulu, that would have been nice too. But honestly,
oh yeah.
But Canada still has problems with Hulu, so it's a whole thing. All right. Anyway, so Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
This one, yeah, like it's basically
another generic title for a show that has nothing that you would expect it to have, considering the title.
No. This one, well, at least this one is about hunters, but it's not about hunters of animals. It's about hunters of man.
Mm-hmm.
If you're
and not just any man.
Nazis.
Nazis.
Yeah. Man. This is about getting them Nazis.
Yep.
And yeah, so probably the big thing is like it's super high profile about it is Al Pacino's one of the main cast members.
Yes. Which
is kind of a big, because everyone's like, wait, he's a main cast member in an Amazon series? Because like that's something still kind of. There's certain actors, like, it would still be weird for them to be a main cast member on a show.
Yeah. Like, you look back, and I think the majority of the shows that we've seen, even movies, like, the thought of, good grief, with Bright, like, that was such a big deal.
Yeah.
What was it, a couple years ago?
Yeah, it was like 3 years ago.
Really? Wow. And, like, that kind of stuff, like, having these big, blockbuster, high-budget actors being involved in streaming services, let alone TV shows now, seems still, to a certain extent, absurd. But here we are.
Well, I think one of the most high-profile ones that still hasn't done it is De Niro hasn't done a TV show, and Tom Hanks hasn't done a TV show. Because the closest I think Hanks has done has been when he was hosting those miniseries on HBO.
Okay.
Right? And even then, he didn't appear at all in Band of Brothers.
Right.
And he just kind of did the opening stuff for Earth to the Moon, except for the final episode where he played a small role for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I want to be this guy. All right. You do it, Tom Hanks. And, yeah, in this
not
case,
hold it against you.
No, exactly. Tom Hanks could do, well, not at whatever he wants, but...
Yeah, but I mean, a majority, we will give Tom Hanks a pass for a lot of things.
Yeah. So, Hunters, yeah, like I said, at the most basic, it's just, they're hunting Nazis, and because they can't just be hunting Nazis, they have to establish a Fourth Reich, and the Fourth Reich has to be a problem, plus they actually talk about the real Operation Paperclip, which, for those who aren't familiar, I'm going to try to say this most non-conspiratorially as possible.
I know!
Operation Paperclip was essentially the recruitment of Nazi scientists to...
by the United States government.
Yeah, by the United States government. Allies in general, but especially in the United States, where they would... and then they would help advance North American or American science, especially in the light of the Cold War.
Right.
Like, it didn't fully tie into the Cold War when it started, but by the end, when they were still kind of doing it, it was like, no, this is absolutely about the Cold War now.
Yeah.
You think did Werner von Braun count as Operation Paperclip or not?
I believe so.
Like, he probably wasn't officially part of it, because, like, that's the guy who, for those who don't know, basically helped kick off the space race.
Right.
Because he was, like, one of the Nazi rocket scientists. Like, he didn't try to... to be clear, he wasn't like, oh, yeah, let's blow up people. He was like, I just want to make rockets, and I want them to go to space eventually. And the Nazis were like, we'll make your rockets, we just won't send them to space. And he's like, well, it's that or death. So... Not trying to apologize for any potential war crimes you could associate him with. I'm just trying to explain, because, I mean, especially Disney then put him on TV to talk about the potential space program, so...
Exactly.
You know, he's a complicated, actual historic figure. I'm surprised... Did they actually bring him up in the show? I don't remember.
Yeah, they brought him up in the show. Almost at the end.
Okay. Right, okay, yeah. There's so much stuff that happens at the end of the show. Oh, boy.
Yeah, and that's, I think, one of the biggest problems with the entire series. And considering that it's 10 episodes and it was, like, such a rush at the end.
I know, because, like, the first few episodes are fine. Like, you get the premise set up, and it's like, alright. And you get introduced to your very colorful cast of characters, which... Yes. That's kind of a problem.
And the way they were presented, it was very... You know, set, and I understand, you know, because first of all, we're set in 1977. We had to get that out of the way too, because it's not like when we say we're hunting Nazis, it's not like it's during World War II. This is 1977. And like you said, of course, Operation Paperclip. Yeah. But the thing about it is the fact that originally, when you kind of like start getting the cast of characters, they're presented in a very 70s blaxploitation way, and then that kind of like fades away completely.
Yeah. Well. There's two big things I gotta say about the show right off the bat. It's got a tone problem. Big time. Oh boy, does it have a tone problem.
Starts off very dramatically, very heavy. Yep. Then it gets very humorous, especially with certain characters. And then it gets very heavy at the end.
And it also gets really goofy at the very end.
Yeah.
So it's got this really annoying combination. Like, it doesn't balance it well like, say, The Boys does. Where, like, you're kind of rolling your eyes a bit, maybe at, like, we're going to shove explosives up this man's butt. But it's still ultimately like, oh, this is not, well, this is kind of comical.
No, this is not right at all.
No. You know, they're trying to actually balance things out here. And then, and then with freaking Hunters, it's just like, like, because the pacing is screwed up because it suddenly starts to rush the last few episodes. It's like, I don't know if they thought they were going to get more episodes or what was going on, but, like, you've got, like, even just if I list off the cast, people will probably understand where the tone problem comes in, because we got Al Pacino with Logan Lerman, who's kind of dramatic, kind of not, and then we get Lena Olin, who I've always thought was more dramatic. Then we also get Saul Rubinek, who could probably do both, Carol Kane, which pretty much only does comedy, Josh Radnor, who, I guess mostly comedy?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then, then you get people like Dylan Baker in there, and Dylan Baker is pretty much entirely dramatic.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you got this weird combination of people known for comedy still kind of more or less being the goofy characters in what can be a very serious story at times.
Yes.
Like, Logan Lerman's character, Jonah, and Pacino's character, Meyer Offerman, those two are pretty serious most of the way through, and their story is, I don't know, honestly, I don't know how to feel about it in the end. It's definitely dramatic.
It definitely is, but the payoff was so underwhelming, because it's one of those things like you kind of had a feeling something like that was going to happen. Not to spoil it, of course, but when it did happen, it still felt bad. Like, because the whole arc, and I will spoil this, of Jonah's character is the fact that he's a young man who's oftentimes kind of stepped on. He doesn't have that gumption and that fight in him to stand up for himself when need be at times. And he, as he progresses through the story, is trying to find that in himself. And sometimes it kind of goes a little bit too far left when a situation goes wrong. And you think that he's going to have that character arc where he finally finds that person that he's been trying to become the whole time. But when it happens, it's done in such an unsatisfying way.
Yeah. That's kind of the show in a nutshell. Like, the performances in general, especially Pacino, especially in the finale, are really good.
Yeah.
And Lerman does pretty well with his material as well. But, like, sorry, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. This might be yeah. Like, yeah, just this whole, I don't know. I just don't know what the value of this show is.
You know, it was funny because I guess that was like the concluding argument I was going to make, because the show ends in a way that it leaves it open for a second season, but it did enough to close it out that if it never had a second season, it'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Even with and I'm not going to spoil it, but even with the big twist at the very end.
Yeah.
Which was just insane. Like, I kind of had a feeling something crazy like that would happen, but I was thinking, like, they would not go that far, and yes, they did.
Oh, they absolutely did.
Yeah, but even with that, I'm perfectly fine with not having a second season, and I think one of the main reasons for that is I felt like I got everything I needed to get out of the show.
Yeah.
And even then, it wasn't like I got that much out of it.
Well, apparently, the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum, they hate the show.
I was going to bring that up. Yes.
Yeah, like that's really weird, because
because there are flashback scenes during this season of concentration camps.
Yeah.
And the general depiction of certain acts, they say, are greatly exaggerated.
Yeah.
And if it's true or not, it is what it is. We know horrific things happen. And like I said, of course, certain things just seem a little too absurd considering what they were doing. But even then, the way they depicted it was the fact that, hey, we have a bunch of evil people doing very evil things, and these people deserve to die.
Yeah. And the problem is, like, they're using actual historical events as a backdrop, and historians are saying that's kind of a problem because you're misrepresenting history.
Right. If you haven't done your research, you don't know exactly what, you will go into this thing thinking that yes, these are the acts, all of the acts that were perpetrated.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like it. You know what it reminds me of? This is a weird thing to compare it to.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a lot of the Elizabeth movies that done with Cate Blanchett. Because they very loosely use a lot of historical events, but then they just completely butcher them.
Right.
So it's just like this gross misrepresentation of everything that actually
happened. Fit their own needs.
I know. One of my favorites is they use the same assassination plot twice, once in each movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that only happened once. The people who did this are dead already.
Right.
Calm down. Like, there's just,
But I will say, on a positive note, the characters of Maury and Mindy, the married couple who are hackers, they're pretty much technologically inclined more than anybody else on the team. They're the oldest couple, outside of Al Pacino's character, of course.
Yeah.
They had the best arcs.
Oh, yeah, easily. Yeah, because they're, it's Rubinek and Kane, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shock those two have good chemistry.
Yeah, it was absolutely marvelous the whole time, because, I like, once again, not to spoil anything, considering there's some big twists when it comes to their characters, but just the arcs of them battling against their faith, understanding what they have to do, the loss of loved ones, like, they just had such a tremendous, they just had their own show. If that was, like, the whole show, just them, I would have been perfectly fine with it. If they were just the hunters.
It's kind of the thing, is, like, you thought they were going to be some of the big sources of wacky antics, and at points they were.
Yeah, at the beginning, yes.
But then, like, it falls into that tone problem where it's like, you've got these wacky actors, and they can do drama. Like, if there's one thing I want people to take away is, like, yeah, Carol Kane can do drama. Like, we knew Rubinek could to a degree.
Right.
Because even when he's playing goofy characters, he's usually pretty good at making them...
He's still level. They're still grounded.
Yeah, like, he's usually really good at that. Like, one role, I'm just going to go on another tangent here real quick. Rubinek, he played a sort of an evil collector in an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yes.
That character is very camp, but there's so much solid malevolence behind that character.
Exactly.
Like that's the kind of stuff like Rubenek's really good at, and his character here is kind of like more of a good version of that, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always thought he was a very underrated actor, and he's very good in this.
Yeah, very much so. Like I said, standout performances by both.
Yeah. Josh Radnor was also there.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't care for his character much. I don't know how much of that was bias against the actor, but yeah.
No, he didn't do much. Like there was like one scene. There was one scene literally where he's in the dark. That's all I'll spoil when it comes to that scene. Yeah. And like that was the best part of him to me the whole time.
But no, I don't know if I can honestly recommend it entirely.
You know, like I said, I can walk away from this. I'm fine with watching it, but it's nothing I feel like I need to ever see again, and I really don't feel like I need a second season.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Let's just move on to our...
Yeah. I mean, solid outing, solid show, but nothing that's going to set the world on fire. It's nothing that, like I said, once again, I'll walk away from it now and be perfectly fine with never seeing it again.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can fully recommend it, but I mean, I guess if you want to check it out, you could do worse.
Right. It's 10 episodes, usually around 45 minutes to an hour, and like I said, you could do worse. But if you have something else on the docket that's more of a high priority, you could definitely make this wait.
Yep. So, on Crunchyroll, I need to preface this, actually. So, of course, as I love to mention, I went to Japan, last year, because, it was a significant, very...
Thank God you did.
I know, right? One of the things I did while I was there was we went to a store that happened to be a pop-up store for this particular movie we're about to talk about. So we did actually buy a few things related to it.
Okay.
So we did our part to support this, even though we had to wait until it came out now to watch it, because I couldn't. There was no Fathom event for me to watch it while it was doing Fathom events, because I mean it came out in Japan August 30th.
Yeah, it came out last summer.
And the Fathom events were, I think, in November. I think there was a few more in January.
Right.
But yeah, it's only now that at the end of March here that it finally came out. So we're talking about Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, Legend of Crimson.
Yes.
Which is a continuation of the Konosuba anime, which we have talked about before.
Yes.
There's 2 seasons of it currently on Crunchyroll. The light novel itself has been going since 2013. It's actually going to wrap up next month.
Oh, wow.
The 17th volume is going to be the last, and they're also wrapping off its latest spin-off series.
Okay.
Because they've done like a 6-volume spin-off series about a character, remember Dust?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got a 6-volume spin-off series.
Wow.
Because they kind of realized they could turn him into a sort of Kazuma-like character, because he kind of is.
Right.
So that's been interesting. But, yeah. Now, in this case, Legend of Crimson follows the 5th volume of the book, and is, like I said, just a flat-out continuation of the anime. So if you were fans of the anime and you were fans of the books, this is for you. And this movie is a pretty good adaptation, I have to say.
Yeah.
Like, the anime itself is already pretty good. In this case, the movie, it's interesting because it goes through all the material pretty satisfactorily. Like, it skips over, I think, one joke. One big thing, and I don't remember if it may have been a later volume where I think it happened, so I'm not even going to talk about it too much.
Okay.
So you have a chance you get a chance to talk about it for real. But, yeah, in this case, the big thing is it revolves around the Crimson Mages.
Yes.
Because Megumin has been established since her first appearance to be a Crimson Mage, because they all have red eyes, and they're supposed to all be, like, powerful wizards. Now we get to meet them. Boy, howdy. If you wanted to know where she gets it.
Oh, man. The first appearances of them, like the actual mages, the group of them, is so bro. Like, the fact that they start saying lightsaber, and it starts shortening with each person, to the point they just say burr at the end.
Yeah, they're just all spamming one of the most powerful spells.
Lightsaber, saber, burr.
And they're just casually splashing up huge hordes of... Yeah, it's like... One of the whole things is, they go to the village of... Without giving too many of the jokes away, they go to the village of the Crimson Demons because it's like, hey, we're being attacked by the Demon King's army. And they're like, oh no, they might need help. They get there. They don't need help. So then they just sort of hang around the village. And action eventually finds them.
Yes.
That is essentially the whole premise of the movie, just at the risk of spoiling too much of it. Yeah. So
and for those who don't know, I mean, one of the main ongoing, pretty much character traits of Kazuma is the fact that he's treated as a pervert for good reason. Like, yes. they look down on him. They look down on him for various reasons, for his sexual immorality, but he's pretty much still a virgin. Like, he's not got anything. And there are several key moments during this movie where he thinks that something's going to work out for him, and it just doesn't, either because of his own will or because of things against his will. I will say, I never thought I would actually say that there was an attempted rape scene that was hilarious.
Yeah, like...
It actually...
To rewind a bit. Sorry, I just want to rewind to set this up a bit better.
Yeah.
A running theme over the next few volumes, starting with volume 5, is very much the classic, like, if you read any, like, Wheel of the Hero or whatever, Wheel of the Protagonist type stuff, it's always like the protagonist wants something, and then it usually becomes a cautionary tale, but the character still changes ideally as a result.
Right. But
it's just they get what they want, but it's not what they expected.
Exactly.
Like, that's the classic thing with, like, sitcoms or anything like that. Like, you see this all the time in Community.
Mm-hmm.
Right, for example, or even, or like basically anything Dan Harmon does in particular. He follows that particular wheel pretty well, and you see why it's such an effective tool. In this case, Kazuma wants to be in his, air quote, popular period, where women want him. Or, you know, he has success with women.
Because he has above average luck. That's his stat. Like, he has to have the women coming after him.
Yep. He's got exceptionally high luck. Yeah. And, yeah. So this very much becomes a careful what you wish for. Because he almost gets, he's like, oh, I want women to be interested in me. Well, he almost gets sexually assaulted at one point. And it's, oh man. They honestly did a better job of it, I think, than they did in the book, because like, you know, it's still gonna be problematic for people.
Yeah, it's still gonna be awkward as you're watching it, but the way it's presented.
No, like, as long as you don't have any underlying major psychological issues with this,
right,
you should be fine.
Right.
Like, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, don't worry, they actually do it probably in the best taste possible.
Yes.
Where it's, you know, they play up the resulting trauma for laughs a bit, but they never treat him as being like, oh, he's like, no, they still treat it as trauma, but they still, you know, they do the reaction to it for laughs, because they can't have a character seriously psychologically scarred and just going through trauma for days on end, right?
Exactly.
Because then it wouldn't be a comedy.
Right.
But they never belittle him for the experience.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is a really great way of handling this, so you can get the laugh, and you can still have the realistic reaction, but you don't make light of
what's going on.
Yeah, which I think is probably the best. Like, the closest is what happens with Darkness during that sequence, which I do not want to spoil.
Oh my goodness,
that is a hilarious thing. Yeah. But speaking of the core actors, so yeah, Kazuma, as usual, being our protagonist, gets the most to do.
Yes.
After that, Megumin, obviously, because it's basically her arc.
Right, and it really is, yeah.
Yeah, but
right
Aqua gets a decent amount to do, even though she's ultimately still a supporting role. Darkness probably gets the least amount to do in this movie. So if you're a Darkness fan,
Aqua got the least amount.
I would still say it's because Aqua gets to be useful.
Yeah, especially in the final battle. Yeah, she's definitely very useful.
And she has one of my favorite jokes in the whole thing, where she's casually pulling up Kazuma's pants at one point.
Yeah.
Which is just one of the best background visual jokes I've ever seen.
But, like, the only thing that, for, like, Darkness, she had a little bit more fight scenes and stuff, but, like, I will agree with you in the sense of Darkness was like gone for definitely periods of time, and it really didn't matter to the story.
Well, more than once, she just gets knocked out as a gag.
Yes.
Once by her own volition, and another time with I don't even, you know what, I probably spoil that, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, this movie! I swear.
I know. Yeah, like 95% of this is adapted straight from the book.
Oh man.
Like the big stuff they changed were, I think they changed some of the dialogue to be a little smoother.
Okay.
And they did cut out a couple of gags. Like I will spoil one that they cut out, which is a very small one-off gag that the movie's not any poorer for, but I am sad they cut it out because it was at one point they're walking around town and they show off the statue of a griffin. And it's like, no, this was a giant griffin that was turned to stone for whatever reason, and then Aqua's like, oh, I'll just restore it, and everyone's like, no. Because she's like just trying to be useful,
right? She's
yeah.
thinking that it's something that's actually detrimental to the community that has been stoned. So,
yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. There's more of a joke with the sword and the stone thing too, but like that's just like I think they established that it's just flat out a tourist trap thing where
right.
every 100 pulls the sword will come loose or something like that. But then there's like a tax you have to pay, so people never actually take the sword, something like that. Like it's like the sword is just a tourist trap. But yeah, and then probably the other big thing, which I won't spoil, is the climax is longer. You could probably figure out where it suddenly got longer.
Yeah.
And like another big thing is Veneer and Wiz show up again later in the movie.
Okay.
They don't in the book.
Oh man, okay.
So everything they do is basically additional.
Oh man, that's actually
like the part of the beginning where they go to see them. That's legit.
Okay.
Yeah, but like to give you some idea of what they added, yeah, which was pretty appropriate because of how the movie ends. Oh man. Yeah, no, the movie is fantastic. The visuals are great. It's got one of my favorite lines ever when Sylvia, the villain of the piece, at one point says to Kazuma, "Do you not think about things when you do them?"
Yeah!
Or something like that. Like, she basically perfectly sums up Kazuma's character. Which is pretty great. And again, Sylvia is very much a careful what you wish for type of villain.
Yeah, that whole sequence, the first time when he just feels like, you know what, I'm comfortable. He even teases like, I'm so comfortable right now, I can actually turn villain now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do appreciate a line they give Sylvia later that helps make any unfortunate implications get downplayed there.
Yes.
Like, without giving too much away, oh, don't worry, I wasn't actually going to do anything.
No.
That line was not in the book. Like, they just kept going. So, like, I'm like, you know what? I appreciate that line. Because it's actually funnier that that's there. In my opinion, anyway. But yeah, no, this movie looks fantastic. The comedy is top-notch.
Yes.
All the characters are fully on point. Like, if you loved the first few the first couple seasons, yeah, you will love this movie. And it ends very cutely, I must say.
It ends in the most wonderful fashion. You know, like, it's exactly what you would want it for a heartwarming moment.
Oh yeah, I know. It's adorable. Yeah. The only problem is my roommate didn't fully. I don't think he fully figured it out. What Kazuma does in that final scene.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can understand why you wouldn't.
Yeah, it is maybe slightly too subtle. I mean, it's, you kind of get the implication where it's like, wait, what? But yeah, I don't want to spoil that joke, but it was pretty solid. I don't know if there's much else to say. They haven't, like I said, they confirmed that the books are ending, and the only problem with that is they only started the anime to help sell more books.
Mm-hmm.
So with the books gone, what are they going to do?
Yeah, like, they're going to actually continue on.
Because they are doing all of Fruits Basket. Right? Even though that ended a while ago. Because they're just flat out doing a full anime revival. Because they've already done the first season. The second season, I think, just premiered or is about to premiere.
Okay.
And they're going to do a third and final season for that, too. So they're going to do the entire Fruits Basket. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm kind of hoping they're going to do that with Konosuba because they got a lot of material. Because, like I said, they were only doing about 2 light novels per season, and the story arcs there are pretty rife because there's some really interesting. Like the next one in particular is one of my. It's another careful what you wish for.
Okay.
Yeah, and then was it book 7 does a really good job calling back to even the first book, and actually answers something that people had suspected for a while about a character that was kind of a mystery. So that, like book 7 in particular, is great for going back and looking at previous events, as well as setting up. Well, it builds off an arc that was set up in Volume 6 as well, so those tie together pretty well. And yeah, Volume 6, you know what, I will give you just one little taste.
Okay.
We meet the royal family.
Wow.
Yes. So you get a bit more of an idea what the politics are like in the world.
Wow.
So they because the first 3 volumes they didn't really leave town much.
Right.
And then Volume 4 is when they start to really leave town, and then 5 and 6 they also leave town more.
Right.
So, but then 7 goes back to basics and mostly hangs around action again. So it's really good stuff, and I could keep going, but at this point I'm already giving perhaps too much.
Yeah.
But yes, no, very much. If you've watched Konosuba, do so. Check out this movie. Even if you haven't, just check it out.
Yeah, if you're a fan of anime movies, a fan of comedy in general, and it's just no reason why you shouldn't. It's just one of those movies. Now, unlike say like Kingdom Season 2, where you kind of you have to watch to figure out. One thing I appreciated at the beginning of the movie is they kind of give you a synopsis of the characters and the traits and everything, and what the overall purpose of the show is before the movie really gets started. So
yeah,
you can,
like they don't.
Oh, no, what were you saying?
They don't fully explain what people can do. Like some of the stuff Veneer does later on may not fully make sense to you, but you can get enough of an implication.
Right.
So it's just no, it's a great movie.
It's a hands down great movie. Peter's actually the one that suggested it. I didn't even know it had come out on Crunchyroll yet. And he said, we have to do it. You'll really enjoy it. I'm so thankful they did. There was a moment, I'll spoil this one. Once again, Kazuma trying to get laid, and it doesn't work out for him. He runs out into the village, he's mad. And the animation style of him swinging his sword had me in tears. It was so just terrible.
It was the most genuine rage. Oh yeah, and also, if you need another reason, we do meet Megumin's family. We should probably mention that.
Oh, yes.
Kind of tease that.
Yeah.
And her little sister in particular is such a joy.
Yes. She's got a man. She's captured a man.
Yep. And of course, her mom is probably her dad's pretty funny, but I love what her mom does.
Yeah, there's a moment where, come to find out, they know about a lot of the antics of what's been going on in the first 2 seasons.
Yep.
And she is so calm and cool and collected, and poor Cosmo is just losing his mind because he realized just how bad this sounds.
Yeah. That's kind of the great thing about the fan service. It's kind of why I hate about the anime when they do the random butt shots for no reason.
Yeah.
They're usually so good about the fan service. They do fan service-y stuff, and it has a point. For example, when way back in season 1, when they first get covered in slime by the toads, they're she starts making him look bad around the local townspeople to convince them to recruit her. When it's just wait, well, that's not entirely true, but wait. Oh, good times.
Oh, good stuff. Really good stuff. Great movie. Like I said, please watch it. Just, if you want a good laugh, you will enjoy it. No matter if you haven't watched the first 2 seasons, you will still enjoy it.
Yep. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode.
All right.
I almost guarantee you next time we're going to talk about something we probably haven't talked about before, but given the current situation, we're well, we got to talk about something.
Yeah.
So it may not be the most relevant. I mean, we'll see what's coming out on streaming, and there's probably a game we could talk about, not to give too much away, because I think
we got Resident Evil 3
coming out on time.
Yeah, Resident Evil 3 came out today. I'm
right.
hoping that I get it.
If you get your hands on it.
Yeah.
I may not get. I may not get my hands on it for a while, but I did play the demo.
Right.
So you may have to walk us through that if we end up talking about that next time. But
I just finished Doom Eternal, so that's one that's kind of like in the docket if we ever want to talk about something. I'll spoil this right now. I actually really did enjoy it. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. And of course, we got the big boy, hopefully, next Friday, between next Friday and the week after, coming out.
Yeah. We're not going to have enough time to talk about that on the next episode.
Yeah. We have to play by ear on this one. We're flying by the seat of our pants right now.
Yeah, I guess once we're finished recording, we'll have a talk and
we'll
we're going to do next time. I get the feeling Doom Eternal will probably be on there, though.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely want to talk about that. That was one of those things, like, one of the few times I'm actually very surprised about something.
That's fair. All right, well, until next time, folks. Yeah, no, just keep yourselves clean.
Oh, my
God. Just do the washing. Wear the face mask if you have one. Improvise face mask or fine.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you don't have an official one, you can improvise one.
Oh, I'm wearing a ski mask type thing when I go out. Like one of those half masks.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of looks like a ninja mask.
Yeah,
I wear that a lot.
Yeah.
So, just
be careful, be safe, and just be mindful of everyone else, too. Just not thinking about yourself. Think about others, too.
Yep. Support your local businesses.
Yes, very much so.